if you're in the country or you're in the city, you got to get out of there because I mean it's a dog eat dog world in the city. So you got to get out to the country. Once you're in the country, I'm sure if you have some skill that you can bring to the table, if you're a nurse or, you're a carpenter or you're a plumber or you're an electrician and maybe somebody knows how, or you know how to make a generator, a bicycle operated generator, that might be a skill that somebody needs. And, you may have to, face somebody and say, oh, yeah, I'm looking for a job and, I can contribute to your survival or whatever. If you don't have somebody that you know in the country, but you should get out of the cities because it's going to get pretty bad. I don't know if they're going to allow people to move about when the crap hits the fan because they might have roadblocks up and everything, and we'll have to see how that turns out. But being in the city is not a good idea. We have rabbits because we use them for meat and things like that, and my wife and I were just joking around and saying, well, what other animal reproduces that quick? And then we were watching a show about some old lady who had like a lot of cats in her house, and it was like, cats reproduce a lot. And maybe these little old ladies in the city who have all these cats in their apartment, they could probably survive for a long time, all those cats, I mean, it wouldn't be the first person that ever ate a cat before. Hey man, people eat a lot of strange things when they're hungry. Don't say it can't happen because it can. But I fear that's how bad it's going to get. So you really got to get it in your mind that things could potentially get this bad because if you can't have fuel and you can't ship food in, food's going to stay where it is. And why is the farmer going to produce anything if he's not getting anything for it? But if he's going to have people helping him and he's going to have an active trade going on, then he will continue to produce. And I think that shift in the way our economy works will happen that way. So where you go, your shelter, you got to have shelter. You got to have energy. Don't expect cell phones to be working, but you should have some sort of a receiver, some sort of AM/FM receiver, so you can get information from whatever's left of the government, or maybe the state government will not be in line with the federal government. I don't know what's going to happen in terms of that, but you should be aware as to what's being beamed out there over the airwaves, so you can keep in touch and for the greater scheme of things. You should have a way to heat your home that is not dependent on oil. Kerosene runs out. Where are you going to get kerosene after that? You're not. You might want to have kerosene lamps and candles and things like that. But when candles run out, you can always get with the kerosene lamps. You can always put animal fat in the kerosene lamps. And use animal hair or cloth, ripped up cloth, to use as wicks, and that may be something that you need to do, after a while when the kerosene runs out. But I wouldn't use. I mean, I have a kerosene heater, and that's kind of like a backup to a backup to a backup. But I've got propane, black cats too that are kind of a. That's what I've always used as emergency contingency in a car. If I'm traveling in the winter and I get stuck in a snowstorm and I lose power in the car, how am I going to stay alive in that car? Well, this is like outside of economic collapse. This is just how am I going to survive in a winter up here and if I get stuck in the car? So I always keep a black cat in the car so that I can, and it's I usually have a 24-hour supply of propane. And it's a little tank, and the black cat will heat that little car up for 24 hours. And it's not a lot of propane. You don't want to keep a lot of propane in your car in case you do get into an accident and it'll blow up. But you have to have ways of lighting your house. If you have solar panels, and I've got these pretty cool little solar panels that kind of open up, and I can run a laptop off of it, so I can run some minor electronic equipment, but I also have the capacity to store electricity generated by those panels. And if you have deep storage batteries, and they're not car batteries, but they're like golf cart batteries. Those things could store a lot of power in them, and you can always kind of hook them up together in a long line. And so if you can get a golf cart battery, something like they're kind of pricey, but if somebody's going to get rid of a golf cart, that'd be the one thing I'd go after, is those batteries, because you can use solar panels, but you got to be able to store it somewhere. So I have different battery storage devices that I could keep power, and I do know how to make my own, like kind of a bicycle type of generator if need be. But you need a lot of leg power for those kind of things. But again, the access. You don't want to be too far off the road. You want to have access to a road, but like I said, around here, if it snows and there's nobody to plow the roads, you're not going to see anybody till spring. So, but how are people going to get up when things start kind of ramping up again? And that may not be a year or 2 years like that. So I mean, you think about, you're going to have 6 months of food, but if you don't start planting in the spring and getting a garden, and since you're not going to work and you're going to be full-time taking care of your own survival, you can, mason jars are very important, so that you can learn how to use them. And you can, kind of jar things, get tomato sauces put away for the winter that's coming, and pickle things, and put away herbs and dry those things, and and just grow what you need to grow during the growing season, and then when winter comes around, you've got lots stored. But people don't realize how much work that is, and again, when you got a nice group of people working on it, you can get a lot done. And again, I'm going back to the medicines thing. If you don't have antibiotics, or what if you get, stuffy noses and things like that, all right, kids are going to have to learn to deal without those medicines, and people have gotten through, but you should have like Tamiflu. Ask your doctor to see if you can get some Tamiflu in case the flu strikes, and at least that you can give that to anybody who's ailing, and kind of cut back that illness. Antibiotics are crucial. If you have a heart condition, you better have heart medication. You better have a lot of heart medication, high blood pressure medication, all that stuff, because obviously your body has gotten used to you taking that medicine. So without it, you're not going to be faring well, and maybe you should try to find a natural way of dealing with your condition. Maybe look up, natural medicine, herbal medicine. The American Indians had a valuable amount of information on that. That's some of the books that's contained in that little CD that I put together, because I figured that, well, we're going to need to know stuff like that, like how to find the right mushroom to eat. You don't want to poison yourself, because where are you going to go to the hospital? Hospital's closed.